70th birthday, Yud Aleph Nisan Tov Lamed Beis, he said that people asked him to go into retirement. At the age of 70, you're supposed to retire. So he said then this talk. Listen, the idea. The greatest goodness, we're looking at good, lunch, breakfast, supper. Hashem should give me whatever I need. The real goodness and the ultimate goodness is that Hashem could give is dveikus with Him, oneness with Him. The greatest goodness that God could give you is to be one with God, to be godlike, to be divine, because that's the source of all goodness. That's the source of everything. If Hashem would create us with a nature that He gives and we receive, and we're content with that reception, then our ultimate goodness would just be receiving from Hashem, which is great. But He wanted to give us something much more. We should become God. We should be God-like. We should be divine, not just recipients from the divine. What does it mean to be divine? That you create, that you give, that you become divine-like. You're not just a makabel, you're a mashpia. You're not just a recipient of creation. You create life. So God gave you a life and says, here's life. I gave you. But now you have to create. And that's very embedded in our nature that I'm not going to be happy just to receive. Because if I would be happy just receiving, my ultimate perfection in life is I remain a recipient of God. Which means I never have real oneness with Hashem. I never become godlike. So we're driven not just to receive. We're driven to create our own fate, to create our own destiny. And in that, we don't become students of God. We become actually divine. In our independence, in our need for independence, in our need to create our own destiny, in our need to take responsibility for my life, that's where I don't become distant. I actually become much more connected. So now, let's go back to the yesh. The yesh. Which part of the world feels the most independence? Which part of the world feels the most independence? The definition of spirituality is connection. That's what Oir is. Oir is connection. Light is always connected to the source. That's what all the spiritual words are. They're students. They're recipients. They're makablim. They remain connected to the great light. Whether they want to use the metaphor of light or the metaphor of water or the metaphor of teachers, the metaphor of students, I'm connected to the light. But then you have this world. This world is like the tipa. This world is no connection. Absolutely no connection. You don't feel any of that connection. So the question was, why can't Atzmus be expressed in all of Ruchnius? And the answer for that is, because all of Ruchnius essentially is a connection. It's a Talmud. It's a Makabel. Where is Atzmus himself? Where is it expressed? In that one world that screams independence, detachment, autonomy. So on one level, your child could say, goodbye, bye-bye, I don't need you, I don't want you. They fly away, and that's it. That's Gashmias, the way it's misunderstood. That's the Yesh HaNivra, the way it's misunderstood. That's the way you raise a child who becomes an independent monster and bully and runs away because there was no attachment. So therefore, because there was no attachment, in order to avoid the pain that there was no attachment, they have to become detached. Because the attachment is so painful and the lack of it is so painful, they can't acknowledge that they need you. So because they can't acknowledge that they need you, they say, I don't need you forever.